mahakama ama kuna dhuluma fulani ambayo umepokea kwa sababu ulikuwa katika mahakama na unaona kwamba ni dhuluma. Kwa mfano kesi yako unaona haiendelei, unaona kuna makosa yanafanyika, una haki ya kwenda pale kwa ofisi ya ombudsman na kuteta.
The BBI has also proposed the tenure of Deputy Chief Justice to be 10 years, just like Chief Justice tenure. Currently, the Constitution is silent on the tenure of the Deputy Chief Justice. The report, however, proposes that Chief Justice can be an ordinary member of the Supreme Court.
Kwa hivyo, jopo la JSC linahitaji kuwajibika. Jopo la Parliamentary Service Commission linahitaji kuwajibika, lakini kwa sasa kuna mengi ambayo huwezi kuguza. Unaweza kuguza hili, kwa mfano ni rahisi kuguza judiciary kwa sababu hawezi kujitetea, hawezi kupiga kelele. Lakini ukisema unataka kuguza pia Parliamentary Service Commission, utapata kwamba wabunge wataanza kuteta na watataka kukubali hayo. Kwa hivyo BBI nafikiri wanaguza mahali ambapo wanaamini kwamba wanaweza kutekeleza, wanaweza kuwa na nafasi ya kufaulu.
Meanwhile, Parliament's leadership has called on Kenyans to read the report ahead of its official launch on Monday at the Bomas of Kenya, led by National Assembly Majority Leader Amos Kimunya and Senate's Majority Whip Irungu Kangata. The leadership has also cautioned Kenyans against relying on the political class to interpret the report for them.
Wherever you are, at home, at the workplace, or in social places, ask yourself, what's in it for me? And I'm sure you'll find something in it for each and every Kenyan. To emphasize, as members of Parliament, we strongly urge all Kenyans to read these reports and read it for themselves. Do not let anyone mislead you about this report.
We have seen that has been captured in this BBI report. More counties are going to get more monies going forward once this BBI report is implemented. We are also happy with the proposal for Ward Development Fund.
The BBI report was presented to President Uhuru Kenyatta and ODM leader Raila Odinga on Wednesday. Elizabeth Mutuku, TV47 Nairobi.
Well, beneficiaries of the Higher Education Loans Board may have a grace period of 4 years after graduating to start repaying the loan if the proposal by the BBI initiative is effected. Abdurrahim Hassan is among recent graduates who have welcomed the proposal, saying it will help reduce the pressure a number of people have to repay the loan. Sharon Baranga with the story.
My name is Abdurrahim Hassan. I was a student at Maseno University pursuing Bachelor of Arts, International Relations and Diplomacy. I graduated last year in December with a second class upper, and since graduation I've been trying to apply for jobs.
In his quest to hunt for jobs, Hassan did not limit himself to jobs in Kenya. He also sent out his application letters to companies in neighboring countries. One of the companies reached out to him.
So this was a job in Uganda, and the organization that I was to work with sent me the details. Late March, COVID-19 came, the country was closed down. I was supposed to report in April. That is when I was supposed to go for the job. So I could not go because the borders were closed. After that, I've been trying to apply for jobs. I've been sending my CVs, but most companies were like, we cannot employ people with this situation, with this corona situation.
Hassan, who lives in Kibras Makina area in Nairobi, then decided to start a small business to make ends meet.
I started selling bread after I got connections to my uncle who was supplying bread. And so I started selling bread. I started with one cart at that time. So after a few days, I increased my sales. And then I came to open this depot, which I'm running with my dad right now. For a day, we cannot miss to sell 10 carts. That is when it is so bad. But sometimes it even goes up to 20, up to 30. Yeah, depending on occasions. Because there are some occasions like funerals whereby they get bread in wholesale. They can take 10 to 15 carts. Apart from that, I have chicken at home that I've tried to keep me busy also.
Like many other beneficiaries of the HELB loan, Hassan felt relieved after learning that the Building Bridges initiative proposed a grace period of 4 years for all graduates to start repaying the loan after graduating. The report says in part, a loanee shall be required, subject to and in accordance with this act or any regulations made thereunder, not earlier than 4 years from the date of completion of his or her studies or such other later period as the board decides to recall its loan. End of quote.
So the total amount that I owe HELB as principal amount was 170,000, and there is that 6% interest per year. So as years goes by, the interest keeps on increasing. The BBI is proposing that HELB recipients should get a grace period of 4 years before they start repaying the loan. I think that is a good idea, because most of the people, when they get out of campus, there's no job. So they're incapable of paying the loan.
Beneficiaries who will not have secured a job after the 4 years will be exempted from paying interest on the loans until when they get jobs.
Most people default from HELB not by their liking, but because of the large interest that has accrued after the many years that they have tarmacked. So to avoid such defaulters, I think it is a good idea that HELB adopts that law. And it will help most graduates, because they will not have that pressure that now I've finished school, I have to pay loans first before I start building myself.
The proposal comes at a time when there are attempts to reduce the interest chargeable on HELB loan. Sharon Baranga, TV47.
Well, more debate will be cropping up in regards to the BBI, and indeed, you are called upon to take part in parcel of this on this debate as you get to go through the document for us to make a kind of decision as Kenyans. It's now time that we take a short break, and we'll be coming back with the newspaper after that.
Kila siku ya Jumatano tunazungumza, tunaulizana na tunajuzana masuala ibuka ya kisiasa.
He is not in Kirinyaga.
Maisha yangu ni huru na watu wangu wanyali.
Tulivunja vyama vya URP na TNA na vyama vingine tanzu, ndio tukaunda chama inaitwa Jubilee.
Mijadala komavu kuhusu yanayokuhusu, na zaidi ya yote tunakupa nafasi kumfahamu kiongozi wako katika kipindi Mfahamu Kiongozi.
Yako kama mtoto ilikuwa gani?
Mimi nilizaliwa, sasa najuaje
wakati namuuliza maisha.
Kwanza ilikuwa tu ni jaribu kabisa kufikia pahali ambapo nitafika Nairobi. Najua ilikuwa ni kazi ambayo ilichukua siku mingi sana kufika Nairobi.
Kila siku ya Jumatano kuanzia saa 1:30 hadi saa 2:30. Ungana naye Elizabeth Mutuku, usikose.
It is said that cooking is one of the greatest gifts you can give those you love, because nothing brings people together like good food. Join Chef Hamadi every Sunday at 6:30 p.m. as he teaches us some simple and quick recipes, only on The Throwdown.
You are the mighty God, the great I am. Hallelujah, hallelujah.
This and every Sunday, TV47 brings church straight to your home. Come, worship straight from your home as we bring you the Sunday church service at the All Saints Cathedral from 11 a.m.
Kila siku ya Jumatano tunazungumza, tunaulizana na tunajuzana masuala ibuka ya kisiasa.
He is not in Kirinyaga.
Maisha yangu ni huru na watu wangu wanyali.
Tulivunja vyama vya URP na TNA na vyama vingine tanzu, ndio tukaunda chama inaitwa Jubilee.
Mijadala komavu kuhusu yanayokuhusu, na zaidi ya yote tunakupa nafasi kumfahamu kiongozi wako katika kipindi kumfahamu kiongozi.
yako kama mtoto ilikuwa gani?
Mimi nilizaliwa sasa najuaje maisha ilikuwa.
Wakati namuuliza maisha
Kwanza ilikuwa tu ni jaribu kabisa kufikia pahali ambapo nitafika Nairobi. Najua ilikuwa ni kazi ambayo ilichukua siku mingi sana kufika Nairobi.
Kila siku ya Jumatano kuanzia saa 1:30 hadi saa 2:30. Ungana naye Elizabeth Mutuku, usikose.
It is said that cooking is one of the greatest gifts you can give those you love because nothing brings people together like good food. Join Chef Hamadi every Sunday at 6:30 p.m. as he teaches us some simple and quick recipes, only on The Throwdown.
You are the mighty God, the great I am. Hallelujah, hallelujah.
This and every Sunday, TV47 brings church straight to your home. Come, worship straight from your home as we bring you the Sunday church service at the All Saints Cathedral from 11 a.m.
Kila siku ya Jumatano tunazungumza, tunaulizana na tunajuzana masuala ibuka ya kisiasa.
He is not in Kirinyaga.
Maisha yangu ni huru na watu wangu wanyali.
Tulivunja vyama vya URP na TNA na vyama vingine tanzu, ndio tukaunda chama inaitwa Jubilee.
Mijadala komavu kuhusu yanayokuhusu, na zaidi ya yote tunakupa nafasi kumfahamu kiongozi wako katika kipindi Mfahamu Kiongozi.
yako kama mtoto ilikuwa gani?
Mimi nilizaliwa sasa najuaje maisha ilikuwa.
Wakati namuuliza maisha
Kwanza ilikuwa tu ni jaribu kabisa kufikia pahali ambapo nitafika Nairobi. Najua ilikuwa ni kazi ambayo ilichukua siku mingi sana kufika Nairobi.
Kila siku ya Jumatano kuanzia saa 1:30 hadi saa 2:30. Ungana naye Elizabeth.
And we have the Standard newspaper, Mr. Camera person, if I can get the screen here, so at least we'll have the guest of the day able to go through what is on the newspaper as we try and open the same. And yes, the guest of the day, I'm sure you must be asking yourself, Linda is talking about the guest of the day, but has not introduced him just yet. We have Karl Marx. Karl Marx, it's been a minute. Karl Marx Odhiambo, has been so long. And Karl Marx is a policy and governance expert, and it's good to have you this morning.
Thank you.
Though very quick, good morning to you.
Yeah.
You've been well?
I'm okay.
All right, BBI. Because I know, well, even before we take a look at what is on the newspaper, I know that is the biggest story.
Everything that is now a turnaround, and I can tell you that it will run in our lives for almost the whole of 2020 all the way to 2021.
Yeah.
And still, that's a big debate for us. Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't know. I don't want to say this, but I mean, because sometimes it's different. But I'd say your name betrays you. What were Nyanza Jana? They got goodies. Was it a way of trying to entice them, or it's obvious that yes, they were being enticed into supporting the BBI?
You know, basically there are some things that we need to understand. You know, politics, you need not to take it too personal.
Yeah. There
is always principles of how to handle politics. And, you know, in a way we always believe that there are some cracks and divisions that to a point that your enmity becomes your real problem.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just a process. Politics is a process. You know, it's like a football match. You know, you play and then, I mean, your team wins and, you know, you celebrate. Other people feel, offended or something like that. But at the end of the day, you know, this is just a match. So this matter of, you know, we take everything too personal to an extent that now, you know, you live by it, you stay by it, you eat it, you walk it, you do everything. You will lose your life for nothing. You will actually get to be displaced for nothing. These guys, actually these politicians, to them they don't even understand why we talk of division.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day they will take their coffee. These guys will actually be taking their kids to the same school. These guys will be doing business.
Yeah.
I mean, in fact, some of them, they even have joint entities in some businesses, okay?
Yeah.
So, it's you who does not understand that politics is not a matter of life and death. It's a process whereby now we've decided, okay, fine, you're on the other side, I'm on this side. This is just a democracy.
Yeah.
Do your part, let me do my part. If you sail through, let me support you. Let us move all together.
Right.
If I thrive, if I sail through, support me. Let us work together. But this thing of it's too, it's a bitter herb.
Yeah.
That once tasted, you don't even want to see anyone. You don't even want to talk about this. So that is not the best way to do politics.
Well, and reality, as they would say, their stand is not always constant. And in this case, let's take a look at what is on the People's Daily. Why Ruto faces uphill task against BBI. Proposals have sweeteners for many of the sectors of the the sectors that the DP has been trying to attract, making no vote difficult task. And when you speak about that, it's like, oh, okay, well, this is some of the people who've been best of friends at some point. Politically, they're not best of friends, but eventually you'll still see them, going out there and having the coffee, like you rightfully put conducting business like you rightfully put it. So here it is. And yes, some of the people argue that indeed the few who've been able to briefly go through or peruse through the document, they argue that indeed the BBI is a good document and probably an improvement of what we have as a constitution right now. Going to be an uphill task, as they say? I think you probably have not gone through the entire document.
Actually, I've not gone through the entire document, but I've actually gone. I've perused through and I've gone through quite a good number of pages. And I can tell you that at times, constitution needs to be amended over time because one, we amend the constitution actually to adjust the provisions that we always say are inadequate. Then number two, we always amend the constitution actually to respond to the new ideas or maybe the new needs. Okay, and then lastly, we always do amendment to the constitutions actually to include the supplementary rights. Now, it is high time. We've been having our constitution from 2010 to all the way to 2020.
Right.
So basically, if we come up with some amendments, the most important thing here is about, do they meet the thresholds that now we can say we can pass the amendments? Now, if that will work out, then we will get back and ask ourselves, why do we say that it will be an uphill task for the DP Ruto? I think from the word go, he has been, on the receiving end. He's blowing cold, hot, I'll support it, I don't support it. If it's not going to meet this, I'm not going to do that. So, it's like he was setting a pace, or maybe he has already reorganized his team to oppose the entire document, which was actually working against him. So I think that is what has been making him to look like he's the Lone Ranger in the entire process of BBI in the making.
But he said, on Masjid Day, he said that, what, we should have a robust approach and view of the same, inclusive conversation that revolves around the BBI. Why is it that we have decided to conclude, or a few people have decided to conclude, that he's going to be against the document anyway?
Okay, that's why I used the word, from the word go.
Yes.
Yeah, because immediately there was handshake actually gave birth to the BBI. So basically, if that is what has been happening, then he has not actually taken it constructively to always engage as a team. He has been on the opposing side, like, if it's not going to meet this, if it's not going to meet that, then I'm not going to be part and parcel of it. So I think that is why, as immediately the BBI has been released, everybody is now feeling that, there's this one man who's always against here. And so we need to actually now give him his space. Would you now go opposite full throttle? Or will you come back and now join the entire team?
Could this decision have been informed by the reaction of his foot soldiers, who probably have likely also gone through the same? And, in most cases, we would have expected them to be silent until, the debate is on. But I mean, hands-on, at that point when President Uhuru Kenyatta received the document, they were out there and they were against it 101%, as though they had seen it anyway.
That's the challenge. Remember, when we talk of a 9-point agenda, already they were out. So basically, when you want to oppose anything, you kind of be talking about what you do is that I'm going to oppose maybe devolution, or I'm going to oppose the corruption part, or I'm going to oppose the injustices part. But collectively, we are just talking about we are going to oppose. So that's why they were not very clear on exactly what they were going to oppose. But then they were only, setting a narrative of opposing the document from the onset. So I think that's what has been working against the whole process of making the DP to take sides. And again, the foot soldiers, you know, anytime they will always get to the platforms. It's all about, you know, the BBI is increasing the number of seats. The BBI is really making some...
But it is the reality. Really, looking at what has been presented today, you know, trying to delve deep into understanding whether indeed, and I think we had a conversation about that yesterday, on just how much will it come to punguza mizigo. If you remember very well, Carl, the reason as to why people started the conversation of changing the constitution, it was squarely because of, you know, the overrepresentation. And today, the BBI is actually going to, you know, add the baggage, but, you know, in what many people argue is that these other proposals will come in handy to quell that, or in a way to balance that.
I'm one person actually who always believe that we are overrepresented. But again, sometimes these things, they come with a cost. What do I mean? You know, we cannot only pick one point to run away with the entire document. The question is, we talk about devolution, we talk about ward fund, we talk about tax break, we talk about business, we talk about health relief, we talk about the doctors, the commissions, the youth commission, we talk about the gender. You know, the whole document is like it's touching the entire the entire sector. But then we are trying to narrow down ourselves into discussing only about the positions. Now let me break it down here. You know, remember, the Senate, as we speak, we have 67 senators. Do you know what has been added? 27. Now, if you get into the members of the National Assembly, we have already 349. Do you know how many have been added? 11. Now, if you get to, I mean, the count, I mean, now we call them the cabinet secretaries. Actually, we have 22. How many added? 3. In fact, they are not even added, because if I can get to now dissect it very well, we are talking about 22, but now the Prime Minister and the 2 deputy prime ministers, these are people who will be like ministers. You understand? So here, again, we are also shedding off the position of the minority leader as the I mean, the majority leader as the prime minister. And the deputy, and the minority leader as the opposition chief. So thereby, you know, the whole document does not look like it's so much of a number that is too bolted. But that is what we want to hear, and that is what we've been made to believe. So you can see the gap. If you can get to understand that we are only adding 11 people in the National Assembly, you know, it doesn't even look real to you. But that is the reality. That's a fact. Yes.
Okay, well, looking at some of the things that have come on board, and like you rightfully put it, we shouldn't just look at one particular amendment. We're looking at a couple of them on devolution and what has been touched. The reason actually why the People Daily terms it that is going to be a hard or an uphill task for the DPs, because some of the key points that he was looking at with a hustler narrative, yes, they are captured, and enticingly captured for that matter, if you listen to that. So devolution increased the amount of money to be sent to counties from 15% currently to 35%. Ward fund, together with increased allocation to counties, BBI proposed ward development fund. Tax break, young people starting small businesses to get 7-year tax holiday. How realistic it is one thing that we could you know, be deliberating on. Businesses, establishment of employment bureau and micro small enterprises authority to guide careers and ensure youth get their rightful share of government business as sweetener. Well, help relieve young university graduates to be given 4-year grace period before they can start repaying their higher education loans. And of course, doctors who have been agitating for creation of a National Health Service Commission to oversee their welfare finally get their demand. And gender, BBI proposes election for more women to Senate and National Assembly, a move that could save Parliament from dissolution over failure to enact laws on the 2/3 gender rule, and so much so.
Yes. You know, the text, you know, when you talk the text of the Constitution, it cannot reflect the social reality and even the political needs over time. Let me give a very good example of the United States Constitution. You know, that is the best, I can call it the perfect example when you want to refer into the amendments that are always being effected in the constitutions. Remember, there has been almost 11,000 attempts to amend the United States Constitution over time. And, you know, that is roughly, you know, once every week. You can see the figure.
Yeah.
So basically, amending the constitution is not something that we will run away from. It's nothing unusual. It will be there. In fact, we will do this, another one we will do again. So it's not like we've amended our constitution and then we stop there. It's something that is progressive. There's another time we'll feel that, there are some other rights that have been violated. Can we fix this?
But what triggers the amendment? Because you see, the argument on ground is that we've not even implemented the one that we have. We've not scrutinized it to a point whereby we can say that genuinely it has some loopholes, though we have not some loopholes that probably the BBI seeks to address. So in a scenario where we'll keep changing and we honestly are not trying, even making attempts to implement quarter at least of the constitutions that we have, what does it speak? Just taking Kenya through an expensive process?
There are some serious matters that are always captured within the constitution. But then they are subject to amendment. They are subject to some adjustment. So this adjustment comes at a time when now, we've used a constitution for some other time, but other things are progressing. Other things are coming in. So when we are also with that evolution thing, where are we by the time that we were actually coming up with the Lancaster of 1963, we cannot still use it today. So then we came up with the 2010 constitution that actually reviewed the entire document. So today we are just talking about 10 years down the line. Okay, fine, we've worked up to all these points. What else are we going to do that will actually make the entire country now to feel that, it's not all about reading the documents, that, the constitution is clear, all this stuff. But what can we do that can actually reflect what the common man wants? What can we do that can reflect what the union wants? What can we do that can reflect what the education sector wants? Because, if they are not in line or in tandem with the constitution, then others, you will be like, okay, fine, you want to run education sector, but then there are so many things that will be actually stopping you doing the right thing. So we need also to progress as the constitution also progress.
Okay, well, I do not want to assume that you are so much impressed with this document. I'll leave it at that.
But at least, there's so much that I actually captured. You remember, if you look at that constitution very well, talk about devolution. Devolution here now we are talking about from 15 to 35%. Fine, it was captured, but it was a matter of you don't know when to pick 15, you don't know when to pick 20, you don't know when to pick 17. So here progressively somebody is telling you now from 15 we'll be talking about 35. But with the current constitution it's about 15 to 35.
Right.
Meaning I can start at 15. When is the transition period to move to 16?
Okay.
You understand? But now here we'll be devolving funds. As much as there's so much pilferage within the country government, but at least there's some some projects that you can pinpoint. You say, in a country like maybe Garissa or maybe Marsabit, today we can see roads. In a country like, let's say, Homa Bay, we can now see some schools. So that alone is enough to actually project some development within the area. So I think with the devolved fund and also that fund allocation that has been increased, that is a plus to us. Talk of the young people. That commission, maybe they might not get the entire space to thrive over the entire document. But then I'm thinking that once we have a commission, it's like you have the teachers commission. You talk about you have, now the health commission that they have advocating for. So at least there will be some other entity that can understand you fully. You can get up with the policies and then you place it there. Now, hold these people accountable because they're in the office. You understand? Now get to the health loan, you now understand all these things we've been asking. Why would you, you've just graduated the next minute? And the pressure is, you can't do anything. You understand? So these are the things that at least, as much as it might not be 100% perfect, which of course I told you that there is no constitution that can be 100% perfect. But then there is now a clear path.
An advancement from what we have.
We can advance from each and every stage moving forward.
Okay. All right, as we drop that one, matters schools on page 2 of the People Daily. State rules out closure of schools as virus cases are on the rise. And yesterday, the numbers hit like 1,000 and something.
Linda, we messed up.
Did we?
And the entire education sector, we messed up. And we need to own up to that. I think my Professor Magoa, he needs to actually now come up and actually apologize to the nation. This knee-jerk reaction of you closed a school like you are closing a Juakali sector or you are closing a Matatu sector, this thing was so of a reactional thing. The education is not only what we see, that people are moving to class, people are coming out. That thing touches almost every given sector. Security, environment, transport, name it. But then, immediately we said, okay, everybody stop it, go home, you wait there. Now, see what is happening. We are making our kids to get back to school, okay? The guidelines that are there, they are almost like impractical. And we are making the young kids of like 8 years to understand what a university student is supposed to be understanding, which of course is very impossible. Because now today, I mean, you talk of 8 years going to school, a 17-year at home. You understand?
Yeah.
A Form 3 is not going to school. But a grade 4 is going to school.
Going to school.
You understand? But then, these are the young people that at least they could have, there is that thing of you need to learn from what, basically kids, they learn from what they see, not what they are told.
Yeah.
So somebody is telling you put a mask. Politicians, they don't have the mask. Your young people, you want to tell them that, at grade 4, social distancing. All the politicians, they are hugging.
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Here you're telling them that they're going to do exams. They're asking you, others, we were learning online.
Yeah.
You get that confusion. The entire education sector, we are at a mess. And we need to own up to this. Making these young people to be in school today will not solve any problem. We would have accepted as a country that we've messed up, let us start afresh.
Okay.
2021 was not far. But forcing them to go to school when everything is still not working, and by the Ministry of Education still telling us that there is another second wave. But this second wave, we are not even prepared.
But
So
what are the likelihoods that
our young people
is going to be a changed affair come 2021, honestly, from, with the trajectory that we...
But at least, we could have monitored, look at what we were told around July, so many people will die and all that stuff. But, we managed.
Yeah.
You never know. Again, now, we could have actually, okay, fine. We've messed up the entire education sector. But now, this, if you read the Constitution, actually, the Constitution starts, our calendar for the education starts by January.
Yeah.
How we ended up now forcing these young people to go back to school, by April you'll be doing all this. I mean, let us be realistic. Let us be open to ourselves and actually have a very clear discussion on this and accept that we messed up. Let us recall back these students. Let them go back, and then 2021 January, God willing. I don't know, because I don't know whether we'll talk to Corona that now stop it from December so that coming 2021 never attack or maybe because that is what kind of what is trying to happen. But I think we need to start our educational calendar at the right point.
Okay, well, interestingly, they remain adamant that such is not going to be the case. So ours just remains as a proposal.
Yes. And
we wait to see what they will do. Anyway, after all, they've been treating us to a lot of shenanigans in terms of today we are doing this, tomorrow we're doing that. So we wouldn't be surprised with, whatever the angle they decide to take. Juma Gad spent night in cells awaiting bond ruling. This Juma story, though, is a new high as the ministry records, of course, 1,068 infections. That one is on the Juma. That one is on COVID-19. That's different. So the Juma one is here. Do we really have to say anything much about this one?
Again, now being in, cases in court sometimes is not very.
You don't really.
But then.
Well, if you look at the proceedings yesterday, it was interesting that the representatives on the other side could go to court without the necessary documents or psychiatry, analysis and all that. So sometimes you ask yourself, then what really is playing out here?
The caliber, the lawyers that actually are representing this case, these are smart lawyers.
Yes.
I don't know how this confusion can actually come to play in a court, They know you can't actually take a plea on a murder cases without the psychiatrist's report.
Yes.
It's not possible. So where were Ombeta? Where were these guys of Mari? What were they doing?
Ombeta actually is representing Jumwa. So on this other side, they did not come with this report. This was the argument, because this report was supposed to come. This is
so who's supposed to
present the report? I think Ombesa is representing Jumwa.
If he's representing Jumwa, this is what is supposed to be happening.
Yes.
The client. Now now we call Jumwa the client.
The client.
He was the person actually to fast track the process of taking them for actually even liaising with the officers, with the doctors for the report to come, because that report is what will make them to take a plea. They cannot take a plea without the report.
That's the thing.
I can tell
that was the argument. Of course, as of yesterday afternoon, this was looked into, and like you rightfully put it is only fair that we leave it for the courts to make a determination on the same. As we drop that one, we've talked on this one, why Ruto will face Herculean task in opposing the BBI. Leaders give different views on the documents, and we've seen them. Of course, this is Martha Karua right there. Different leaders. Actually, speaking of which then, it seems like it has also enticed the leadership at some point. The members of parliament are not worried. The senators are not worried. Women seem not to be worried again. Are we being fixed here?
Yeah, we have to accept we are being fixed here. Why do I say so? You know, if when something is too good, you must always have a second thought.
No.
There is something that is hidden within the BBI document. But we've been treated to the whole thing that we wanted to hear. And actually it's out. You know, the women are, the representation, you know, perfect.
Yeah.
You talk of the allocation of the funds very well.
Yeah.
You talk about, you know, the members of the National Assembly. Let me start from the county assembly.
Yeah.
There is no county assembly that has actually been scrapped off. So would you expect them to make noise?
Yeah.
National Assembly, actually, they are increasing the number. In terms of nomination, they will tell you we are no longer going to nominate anybody, but then if you contest as a woman, then your votes were closer to this, you will be nominated.
Right.
Basically, it's like everybody's feeling like we are represented. But then the truth of the matter is, we are really going to have it hard to actually implement this document.
Yeah.
It needs a lot of resources.
Well, okay. Well, we wait and see what happens in regards to the same. Let's first of all just take a look at what is on the front page of the Standard newspaper. It's now reggae time, and I think it's technically what we've been talking about. COVID-19, Kenya records 1,068 new cases, taking total to 47,212. I'm still trying to load my Daily Nation, but all the same, let's go back to this one on the People Daily. And of course, this is page 7 of the People Daily. Officers' crime control skills to determine career growth. There is a proposal that police officers' deployment should be aligned to their talents and specialization. There's been a raft of changes, you know, them digitizing the processes and
the reforms that came with the National Police Service. It was really commendable. But then we took advantage over the whole process, because basically the right people to be the right offices, they are not there.
They're not there.
It's about who knows who for you to get the promotions, who knows who to be posted in the right place, who knows who to be subjected to some extremist areas. So we need also to be very genuine, very open with the police reforms. It's not all about changing the uniform. It's not all about just saluting. But then we need to make the police feel that, you know, we can live well. We can have our packages well. We can also be respected. At times, I'm even feeling that the politicians are even misusing some independent bodies to even, you know, suppress the police officers. Like really, to some point, I think even IPOA, they are not really doing the best of what is needed of them. Some other areas they are being misused actually to again threaten the officers. Just anytime somebody feels that, you know, you are not in line with what maybe some politicians are interested to hear or maybe do, then they will use some independent bodies actually to do what. So can we talk about the housing that we were talking about for the police? Have we done it? If that is not there, are we talking about the packages that are now okay with them, that they don't feel that, you know, we are working for the nation but nobody's appreciating us, nobody's recognizing us? These are the things that now we need to start talking about. It's not only about changing the uniform, but these people need to have the entire police reforms done to the letter. That is what will change this nation.
Well, and that's amongst the numerous proposals in the BBI towards changing the state of the nation. Thank you so much, Carl Max Odhiambo, policy and governance expert, for taking us through that. I mean, technically, all the newspapers are talking about BBI and an expansion and, you know, unpacking this all in and out. So yes, like Carl Max says, it's a debate that will be with us for quite some lengthy time before we get to make those kind of discussions. So that's why we get to wind up the newspaper review segment as we cross over to the next segment where we teach you some bits of botanical skincare.